I'd now like to hand over to Dr. Alan Hill, who's going to share some acknowledgements and a bit of commentary from the stakeholder group. I think he's going to share his screen as well, so might take a moment or two, but...
Yeah, kia ora,
there we go.
Kia ora Corban, Māori ora, tēnā koutou kia koutou. Kei te mana whenua ara ko ngā tuahuriri o tērā ki ngā Māori o te rohi nei kei te mihi. Ko Alan Hill, taku ingoa ko Ahorangi Sustainability at Ara Institute of Canterbury. Kia ora folks, it's a great pleasure of mine to be able to provide some acknowledgements and thank yous today. Alongside Moko Morris, I have had the privilege of co-chairing the National Stakeholder Group for the Sustainable Development Goals Summit. So I'd like to acknowledge Moko, my co-chair, and she'll be speaking shortly. The National Stakeholder Group is a group of people across a broad range of sector areas from across the country who have provided some guidance and governance at a broader level to the organisation of the Summit series. I'd like to acknowledge that more than 12 months ago when COVID first hit, we had to think innovatively about the SDG Summit, which up until that point had just been a face-to-face event previously in Wellington and in Auckland. And we moved forward into a Summit series, and Matt is going to be speaking a little bit more about that in a minute. So I'd like to especially acknowledge the National Stakeholder Group. I'm just going to share my screen now, and of course there's always a challenge when you name names that you might forget people. Here are some of the people that have been on that National Stakeholder Group. There were some others that started that gave us some guidance earlier on, but these people have been with us throughout the journey. So I'd like to acknowledge those people and the work that they've done. Kia ora rawa atu. I'd also like to especially acknowledge Corban as our MC for all of these events. Kia mihi ahau ki a koe, Corban. Your work has been tremendous. You've been a magnificent MC. I'm sure everyone would agree with me. But you've done more than that. You've provided really important guidance and advice to Matt and to the working group as mana whenua of ngā tuahuriri. So kia ora rawa atu, Corban. I'd like to also acknowledge and thank the work of the working group who have behind the scenes been tireless in their mahi in putting together the Summit series. Today has been rather frantic for this group as they have scrambled to work with some technical difficulties to still bring us the event. Of course, we're a little disappointed that it wasn't face-to-face here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch, as Corban has been saying. But we think we've still had some tremendous conversations and tremendous reach here in this online space. So a special acknowledgement to the working group team, to Tony Moore from Christchurch City Council and their support, the support of Ara Institute of Canterbury and allowing my time, Lincoln University, Wim de Koning and Kirsty Hernan, and then the sustainability team at UC, Chloe Sutton, Breeze Robertson, the comms specialist, Jamie Lee Westerman, Thomas Gilman, who was involved earlier on and has moved to the sustainability role at Kathmandu, and Fatma Adelal. Lastly, there's two very important people who have carried a large workload, and that is Matt Morris, who has chaired the working group, who has put tireless energy and wisdom and sensitivity into the organisation of these events. These would not have been the way they have been without Matt at the helm. He is a tremendous human being and huge acknowledgement and thanks to Matt. Kia mihi ahau ki a koe, Matt. Really appreciate the work you've done. And to Erica Austin, who is our event series curator, who has done so much of the mahi behind the scenes, who brings creativity, who brings innovation, flair and passion to not only the Sustainable Development Goals, but to be able to put on events like that. Erica is one out-of-the-box person. She is amazing. Our huge acknowledgements and thank you to Erica. Kia mihi ahau kia koe, Erica. So that's all from me. Kia ora rawa atu to all those people who have been involved in putting these events on, and I believe we're handing over to Matt.
Kia ora. Alan, thank you for those kind words, and thank you to everybody that's here today. I just want to say a few words about the series that we've had, and where it sort of sits in the context of the discussions that we have been having as a country around the SDGs. Just first, while we're patting each other on the back, Alan, it's been brilliant to work alongside you as well, and with Moko too. And you know, it seems like an awful lot has happened since Chloe and Lynn Roberts from Lincoln and I took up the challenge of co-hosting the SDG Summit from Auckland University and AUT back in 2019. I think it's fair to say that the whole world has changed since then. But I'd like to just also remember the very important work, the initial work of Marian van den Belt at Victoria University of Wellington back in 2018 for creating the first of these national summits and really starting to put the spotlight on the SDGs here in New Zealand. And I also want to honour and acknowledge the work of Leslie Stone, who's recently left University of Auckland, and Thomas Neitzart of AUT for co-creating the 2019 summit that followed the original Wellington summit. I think that, and I hope that these moments that we create together are building momentum, and that together we're working towards something momentous. So, but since 2019, we've had to respond to a very rapidly changing landscape. And I especially want to acknowledge all of the people that have been involved, as you can see in the online series that we had envisaged as leading up to what we thought would be a face-to-face summit. You can see how many people have been involved in there, and we've covered some amazing ground through that series. Some of the particular elements that I think have come out really strongly are not just acknowledging the centrality of Te Tiriti or Waitangi, which we know, but to really challenge the way that the SDGs can speak to Te Tiriti. And there's a lot more discussion that needs to be had there, but it's great that that conversation is well underway. And we've also seen that through the workshops today, which has been wonderful. We've listened to the thoughts and also the actions of young people. We've learned about some of the ways that the business community are responding to the challenges of the SDGs. We've heard about what our Crown Research Institutes are doing, or some of them are doing in this space. And we've tuned into Pacifica voices from as far away as Vanuatu, which certainly created some interesting bandwidth issues on the night of that hui, but very, very fascinating nevertheless. So there has been a huge amount of ground covered. And one of the coolest things of doing it this way is that this content is now all available on YouTube, so we can watch it over and over again. But I would like to also thank all of the presenters, the speakers, and all of the helpers for today's event, far too many to name, and especially to those people who helped us out so much this morning when we ran into a technical glitch. And thank you also to everybody for your patience with us as we worked through that. So over the course of the last year or so, we have journeyed from seeing the change to being the change, figuring out how to work together for change better, and now really creating some amazing building blocks for that much needed collaboration for change. So on that note, I would like to pass over to our other fabulous co-chair, Moko Morris, before going back to Corban to guide us on the next part of this important journey. Kia ora, Moko.
Oh, tēnā koutou katoa. Tautoko nā mihi kua mihia. I can't really add to any of the kōrero, but I just want to say e te tūru Alan, kia koe. Mihi atu kia koe for holding both our space. Thank you, Alan. All I can say really is the winner of the day is kotahitanga, and that's what I've experienced today, that's what we've seen today, and urge people to keep holding us accountable, keep having these conversations, and keep moving forward, because we haven't really got the time to be patient anymore. We've got to keep going. So thank you to everyone for attending, and like I said, keep holding us account, and let's keep learning together. Kia ora, kia koe, Corban.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you, not only from my perspective as being, well, you guys actually asked me to be the MC, but yeah, it's brought back a few memories actually, seeing the timeline in terms of, we had the first online hui, see the change, I think it was off the top of my head, back in November last year. So to think that it's nearly been an entire year since we had that first online summit, time has indeed flown. And again, just seeing the list of all the talented speakers and presenters we've had across those 3 summits, as well as today, want to mihi to all of you that have been involved in this kaupapa in some way, shape or form. And now it's time for us to hand over the mauri, so to speak, if we view this kaupapa as having a bit of a life force, a life energy behind it. Things would be obviously a little bit different if we had been in person down here in sunny Aotearoa, Christchurch. Hopefully I'm selling it. It's not always cold and miserable here, but unfortunately we're not able to meet face to face. So tēnei au e whakahiki ake nei, I te Māori o tō tātou nei kaupapa, ki te tuanui o Ranginui e tuiho nei, kia tawhiti atu rā tōna haere, ki te riu o Waikato. And so for those of you that weren't aware, this kaupapa is going to be hosted by Waikato University next time round. And on that note, I'd like to hand over to their Vice-Chancellor, Lynda Johnston. Kia ora.
Nā mihi nui ki a koe, Corban, tēnā koutou katoa, no tauranga moana ahau, he tangata mātai, mata whenua ahau. Ko Lynda Johnston tōku ingoa. I'm a professor of geography based in Tauranga Moana. I'm also the University of Waikato's Assistant Vice-Chancellor, Sustainability. And I'm joined here by some of my colleagues, mihi to Hiniete Moana Greensill, Priya Kurian, Niroshi, Hiwa, Walalagi, all part of our Environmental Sustainability Committee at the University of Waikato, and also Harvey Brooks, the Executive Director of Waikato Wellbeing Project, based at Waikato Regional Council. And it's been, reflecting on today's event, it's been an absolute pleasure to have been part of this summit. So ngā mihi nui ki a organisers, it's been an incredible event to be at. Thank you too to all the presenters and the other participants who have made today a really stimulating event. I've enjoyed our discussions. I've been part in the breakout groups, which has been wonderful, meeting some new people. Also wonderful to have rangatahi in our sessions too, and hear those intergenerational conversations happening. Yes, it would have been different in person, but maybe we wouldn't have reached so many participants. So, So we in Waikato and the Bay of Plenty regions are feeling excited yet daunted about hosting the next SDG Summit. We know the mahi needed is great, yet as we have seen, the results are fantastic. Lots of inspirational kōrero, ideas have been sparked, connections have been made. Ultimately, as has been noted already, we're all here to advance the SDGs. Yet we need more people, communities, regions, the entire country to also be advancing the Sustainable Development Goals. This is why these summits are so important. What to expect in the next summit, the fourth of these of the series. We will, as you have, work in partnership with other tertiary institutions. We'll work with local authorities, iwi, NGOs, community groups to foster a positive and vibrant summit. So the University of Waikato, in particular in Aotearoa, is situated in the rohe of Waikato Tainui, and we have a robust relationship with Waikato Tainui and with the Kingitanga, and long associations with Māori iwi that cover the central North Island. And we're also situated here in Tauranga Moana with strong relationships with Bay of Plenty iwi, Ngāti Rangi Nui, Ngāti Rangi and Ngāti Pūkenga, so as well as other groups here. Within our summit, what we hope to do is prioritise the importance of place at a variety of different scales in relation to the SDGs. And at the heart of the fourth summit, the Mātauranga Māori and Pacifica knowledges that will guide our kōrero towards sustainable futures. And I'll just look at my colleagues and see if anyone would like to add anything to that. Put you on the spot. Harvey.
Kia ora, Lynda, and tēnā koutou katoa, ko Harvey Brooks talking ingoa. You're saying everything so brilliantly, Lynda. I really have little to add, but I felt the silence perhaps needed filling. I just want to say I feel like a bit of a lucky kid at Christmas, really, inheriting an amazing project from some amazing people. Many of you have met before I started, and now having the incredible good fortune to be part of the Waikato movement and having something incredible to look forward to in 2024. So just the one little observation, I just thought, wasn't it amazing that we had Nanaia Mahuta starting the hui today, and by introducing herself, she introduced the Waikato to us. And so this is a perfect way to end. So kia ora, everyone. I'm really looking forward to the next steps.
Kia ora, Harvey. It is a question about when the next summit will be. Well, 2018 was Wellington, 2019, Tamaki Makaurau, and of course, Otautahi 2020, 2021. 2022 is very close to us, so the fourth summit will be, and this is still to be confirmed, definitely before the end of 2024, but possibly between 2023 and over to 2024. Just to finish and to end, we at the University of Waikato, our motto is ko te tangata, for the people. We look forward to providing the next summit ko te tangata as well. So, and I'll just take this moment, if I may, to say I think we were the first university to sign the declaration, the summit declaration, but also to let people know that tomorrow the University of Waikato is launching the world's first Bachelor of Climate Change. So look out for that. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa.
Tēnā koe o tēnā koutou te whare wānanga o Waikato. I feel like there was a bit of a stitch up, and I've only just put the two pieces together. Started off with a minister who happens to be from Waikato, and finishing with the next summit heading off to Waikato. Sun's really shining here in Christchurch. But look, just on a final note from me, it's been a privilege to be a part of this series, and want to thank Matt for the initial conversation we had, which must have been nearly a year ago now, to see if I was interested in coming along and being involved in the scope of it. I've learned so much, and it's been an honour to meet you all, even in a digital space like this. But finally, just wanted to thank all of our partners again. And so this 2020-2021 series has been co-hosted by Te Whare Wānanga o Waitaha, the University of Canterbury, Te Whare Wānanga o Auraki, Lincoln University, with support from Ada Institute of Canterbury and Christchurch City Council. And this wouldn't have been happened, sorry, this would not have happened if it weren't for our other partners as well. Tourism New Zealand, Christchurch New Zealand, New Zealand National Commission for UNESCO, Universities New Zealand, Te Pōkaitara, Te Tāhuhu o Te Mātauranga, Ministry of Education, Seeds Podcast, and the UC Centre for Entrepreneurship. And so if we can give another virtual round of applause to all of our partners. And on that note, yes, people must come visit Christchurch. On that note, we're going to finish off with karakia. So, without further ado, again, thank you to everyone for participating. We've had a record number of people involved in today's online summit in particular. And again, thanking all of our partners, thanking all of our organisers, everyone that's pulled everything together over the last 2 weeks to move this from an in-face hui to a digital hui. And on that note, we'll finish with karakia. Nō reira, ka torana te ringa ki runga, ka torana ki raro, ka torana ki te whai au ki te ao mārawa, e rongo hiki nā tura te taumaha o tēnei o ngā kaupapa ki te tuanui o ranginui e tūnei, unuhia, te pau, kia wātea, ai kua wātea, turu o whiti whakamaua kia tīna, haumi e, hui e, tai ki e. Tēnā koutou katoa.